Welcome to the 2022 InnoPower Minority Business Conference. My name is Ahmed Young. I serve as Director of Public and Government Affairs for Walmart. I started my career more than 20 years ago as a teacher and transitioned to the practice of law, and now my current role. No matter what position I've held, it was all about service to others, which you will see as a common thread during this conversation. As you all know, the economic impacts of COVID exacerbated inequities within communities already grappling with significant decreases in population and jobs over the past 3 decades. In response to these challenges, businesses have answered the call in different ways. For example, a McKinsey study reported that more than 40% of minority-owned small businesses had added new services to support their communities and employees, compared with 27% of all respondents. With 22% of all small businesses across Indiana run by people of color, these businesses have been a cornerstone of their communities during these uncertain times. Today, we are speaking with Tammy Butler, Managing Principal at Engaging Solutions. Engaging Solutions has been around for nearly 2 decades and has grown 140% over the last 5 years, while operating in 8 states with a purpose to improve the quality of life for everyone. Last year, they handled over 1 million calls through their contact center and monitored over 500 million through their program compliance service line. Welcome, Tammy.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here and connect with you.
Now, Tammy, I've known you and your family for a long time, but can you please share your professional journey and family background with the audience?
Absolutely. So I started in not-for-profit, working for a community development corporation. And then after that, actually went to go work for Indiana University at the Polis Center. And I was a research application analyst that actually participated in rolling out the Savvy Project, Social Assets Vulnerabilities Indicator. And then spent my next 10 years, or I would say a decade, in state government in various roles, as the policy analyst for the Office of Medicaid Policy and Planning, and then director of claims management, assistant director of the state budget agency over health and human services, and then ended my tenure before starting Engaging Solutions with my wonderful friends as a fiscal analyst for the Ways and Means Committee under Representative Bill Crawford.
That is an incredible journey. I knew a little bit of that, but you just add another layer to my understanding of all the incredible things you've done over the course of your career. Now, you have to have a few secrets to your success, but what is your secret to surviving and growing the way you have over the course of your career?
I would have to say that we live our core values. And of course, there were core values that I had prior to joining Engaging Solutions and being one of the founding members of the organization. And that came from my father, who was an entrepreneur. He owned a radio station, WMCJ Radio, 950 on your radio dial. And then my grandfather owned a barbershop that catered to the Charleston Sailors. And my 3 uncles still work in that barbershop today. And then my dad's mother actually owned an upholstery shop. She was head of the Black Republican Women in Charleston, South Carolina. And so I really was able to navigate and learn through their experiences and watching them. Like I rode in the back of my grandmother's van when she was driving around delivering upholstery and doing curtains and drapery and flipping your couch. We talk about flipping houses, but she was flipping furniture using that material. And so those are things that were instilled in me and that I continue to carry with me today. The other piece I would say as about surviving and growing over the last 17 years is that the community really embraced us as a part of our launch. And so when we came together, people like you and your family and others really supported and encouraged us. They guided us through our missteps that we had. They referred us to a friend. Referrals are so important. And then celebrated our victories. And then I would just say, going back to that, we live our core values. is that we honor our people. We're committed to the community. So it's not that we just work in the community and we hire people from the community, but we invest in this community. We give back 10% of our net proceeds at the end of every year. And then we also establish strong relationships, which is very important. And that's a part of us being able to pay it forward and investing in others as well. And then we joined strong networks as it relates to like NABO, the National Association of Women Business Owners, where I was able to serve as president there. But prior to when we first started, we decided which professional organizations we were going to become members of. And that was one of the organizations that I selected. And I learned so much because it becomes very important for us to be able to make sure that we're ever learning. Also, I got really connected to being an advocate, but then first learning what that was all about by connecting with those that were members of the city county council, those that were elected and appointed officials, so we can understand the process and things that impacted us as business owners. We knew how to navigate, communicate, and advocate for ourselves, became members of the Indie Chamber, the Black Chamber, to be able to do so.
That's incredible. Thank you for sharing that. Now, we've all seen the impact that COVID-19 have had, not only on our personal, but our professional lives as well. How is business for engaging solutions during the pandemic? And some would say it's still ongoing today. How are you all doing today, though?
We're actually faring well. And I think part of that is because 80% of our book of business is in healthcare. And not only that, as a Black-owned business, there have been several commitments that have been made by corporations and others that where we were knocking on doors and trying to get opportunities in the past, where those doors are opening for us today. And we hope that that will be sustained through the relationships and the services that we're delivering to them, so that, because that has been really paramount for us as an organization to be able to grow. But it also, once again, comes back to, we had existing relationships to begin with in the pandemic. We also had a risk management plan in place. We had a disaster plan in place. Of course, everybody was pulling those out, and we're like, oh, so glad we did risk management, right? And then also because of our business being set up where we're able to work remotely. We have an omni-channel solution. So that really helped us to be able to move our employees home. Where we had some struggles was the engagement. I mean, it's in our name that we engage. We're engaging solutions. And so, but really trying to figure out how to stay connected with our employees. Most of our team members are in the field, doing telephonic outreach, facilitating meetings, trying to determine plans. And when you're at home and not connected to the larger community face to face, that's where we saw some challenges being created.
It's clear you're a lifelong learner, personally and professionally. As a business leader, what did you learn about the business climate in Indianapolis during the course of the pandemic that you can continue to apply moving forward?
I would say that Indianapolis is resilient, and not only that, but one of the things that I felt that I learned the most is that we're better together. And it was an opportunity for making referrals. So we actually some of it was also a way for us to test some of our processes that were in place, and to be able to connect with our bank. So we actually connected with our bank because we had some other business owners that we were in partnership with that were not faring as well as we were during the pandemic. And so we connected with our bank and asked, could we host a session with them about resiliency in tough times? And so we had that session. We ended up inviting several others to participate in that. And so the Indie Chamber came along, Liz came along and helped us. Bankable also participated in that. Fagery Drinker came and provided some legal expertise. And so it really showed me something about this community, its resiliency. No one charged anything and was just willing to provide education, support, and uplift to businesses that were really struggling during that time.
That's incredible. Putting aside your entrepreneurial spirit that is embedded within your DNA, and knowing that there's a lot of activity around training and networks and capital for Black businesses, particularly post George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. What did you need most when you were first starting off as a novice entrepreneur and business leader?
Ooh, well, when we first started out, it was infrastructure. Because if you're going to be able to scale a business and make sure that you have documented processes and procedures, we really needed infrastructure. And then we also needed support from advisors, people that had walked this path before and were willing to seed into us. And so we were very grateful to start to identify previous business owners, like your Bill Shrewsbury, who's been in this a long time, or John Thompson, willing to give us some advice about how to navigate. And that was very, very helpful to us in our early days. In addition to that, we created an advisory board, and people were willing to serve on that advisory board. As we grew in business later, we were able to give some compensation through a donation to the charity of their choice. But, like a Lacey Johnson being willing to support and assist. And David also came around and helped us as well. And Patty Prosser, David
Mhm.
Patty Prosser, just have been foundational to us as an organization and helping us to grow and to thrive.
2 years removed from 2020, that summer, and a lot of commitments made by large corporations and the like, to change the climate for Black businesses here in the city of Indianapolis. At this point right now, do you think we have the right business climate to support startups, the growth and sustainability of Black businesses right here in Indy?
I think the key word that you just said of sustainability, I think people are willing to give a shot in the arm, and that's good because it helps you buy those computers. I remember us, right? Like being able to buy the computers, make sure that you can set up QuickBooks so you can track your income and expenses. But for sustainability, people really need opportunity
Mm-hmm.
and access to capital. I would say that those are the two key things. And you don't, and I appreciate and applaud as it relates to minority women business programs that exist, because we would not be where we are today without those, because those should really be the door opener for you being able to show your credibility, that you can perform the work, that you have past performance. But after 17 years, you shouldn't still be served just the 3% and the 5% of a contract, but you should be seen as a real player in this space that oftentimes is doing a lot of the heavy lift for that prime that you might be supporting or working with.
Mm-hmm. And that goes perfectly to my next question, which centers around businesses, particularly Black-owned businesses, and working with not only large companies, but municipalities, the federal government, and the like. How hard is it from your perspective for Black-owned businesses to get contracts from bigger companies or from city, state, and federal governments?
So one, as we know, and I think as you mentioned earlier, about commitments that were made, we know that even in the Indianapolis Star and the IBJ, there were full page, ads that were coming out about commitments that were made. And so that definitely has impacted the environment. There is a raised awareness that exists, but there's still some barriers to being able to go into large companies and do business with them. I would say that state government and local municipalities there's probably an easier entree that exists there. If you do the appropriate relationship development, if you basically made that path to the certification, they know that you're credible. And so it's very important if you do want to do work with municipalities, local government, state government, that you get those certifications because but that's only the beginning. Then you have to work the relationships. And that's making sure that you're able to balance, particularly as a new entrepreneur, of working your business and then growing your business at the
Mhm.
same time. And that can be a challenge. And so it's really those referrals for people that are keep going back to referrals that are established to already a door that's closed, that they've opened it for you and sometimes
Mhm.
even held it open
Yes,
as
indeed.
you're ready and are prepared to be able to receive that opportunity.
No, that's perfect. Thank you, Tammy. That's incredible. I appreciated your insight and wisdom, and I pray those tuning in walk away with an understanding of not only your own personal professional journey, but how they can enhance their entrepreneurial adventure that lies before them. That's all for today, and now let's hear from one of our sponsors.
Thank you.
Innovation requires working collaboratively with multiple internal and external stakeholders. Aligning these relationships on the outcomes each entity contributes to create value is crucial. Yet until now, a tech solution has not existed that supports the holistic, value-driven collaboration needed to succeed. Enter the Business Value Network, a first-of-a-kind network that companies join to manage the expected value from their business relationships with customers, vendors, and other stakeholders. Built on a new computing paradigm broadly labeled as the metaverse, organizations who join the Business Value Network establish persistent digital connections with ecosystem partners to align on strategic initiatives and monitor progress toward desired outcomes. Such transformative technology has unending use cases and applications. Consider, for instance, a Fortune 100 enterprise that is using MetaCX to manage a key environmental initiative. By tying numerous business relationships to the initiative, the business can visualize the impact each relationship has on outcome achievement, as well as understand the cumulative effect of an entire business ecosystem. The business and its various partners are able to come together in a co-owned digital space to align on specific aspects of the initiative, define mutual action plans, and monitor key performance metrics. Everything needed to ensure shared success is housed in one central location. How businesses work together is changing in a major way. The future is now, and MetaCX is leading the transformation. Learn more at metacx.com.